In this video, I'm going to break down the 7 actionable steps to launch your sync licensing career to the point where you'll be able to gain the confidence to land consistent sync licensing placement. I'm Excalibur Zero, a music library owner with over 9 years of sync licensing experience, and we're going to jump into step 1, which is building your digital resume. From here on out, I want you to adapt the mindset of a professional and treat your music as a catalog. You've heard the term dress to impress, so a few actionable steps that you can take today to leave a memorable first impression is create a custom domain email. This is relatively cheap. It can be done within a few minutes using sites like Google Domain and MailChimp, just to name a few options. When you're pitching your music for sync licensing placements, you're entering the domain of business. So setting up a custom email that shows at excalibur0.com instead of excalibur0@gmail.com isolates you from the rest of the submissions that come off as spammy. But let's take this to the next level and use sites like HubSpot to quickly make a custom email footer so companies can easily browse your catalog and get in contact with you. Now, when we make this email footer, we want to make sure that we have a clean website that showcases our music. I recommend using options like disco.ac, Realcrafter, or OffTop. We don't want to direct them to a landing page where there's tons of other music and ads distracting them from our music. So definitely avoid using sites like SoundCloud, Spotify, or any beat store that shows other options. Now, next to having your sync licensing resume set up and ready to flex, let's make sure that our music is at its best of its quality, which leads me into step 2, which is getting feedback from industry professionals. If you're a musician, the fastest way for you to improve is getting feedback from people who have the ear for sync. There's tons of different live critique feedback sessions that you can go to. Some free ones on the top of my head are mine, Anthony Clitt Jr., XJWell, and there's also some pay to submit ones where there's actually music supervisors listening to your music. There's actually one channel that has been standing out to me though. It's a Facebook group called Under the Sync, and it's held by a 5-time multi-platinum musician called Adam McKinnis. I just think he has a really good ear and a unique approach with his feedback, and his sessions are called Golden Ear Gem that I've been following a lot lately from just watching his free replays that he shares on that Facebook group. Receiving a song critique to give you an outside look of what you can improve on is your express pass to standing out. Even buying a $10 Starbucks gift card to an industry professional for some feedback can go a long way for your music career. But you may be wondering, what kind of music works for sync and which songs should I be submitting for feedback? This guides us into step 3, which is context leaves clues. If you can understand the context of your music, you are light years ahead of the competition. In the first 2 weeks of our 6-week mentorship that we hold for our community, our main objective is studying music used in visual media. You'll start to notice a pattern on how music is used for certain ads or TV shows. Context leaves clues, so studying more content will give you a great indicator on what type of music or projects your music can stand out on. In the description, I've actually included a free cheat sheet for you on how I actually study music in a TV show, which includes notes like how many vocals are used on the show, what's the common BPM, what are the lyrical themes, what kind of genres do they have. All of these play a factor and help me understand how I can assure that my music gets to the right people. And honestly, right now, if you need an excuse to watch reality TV without feeling guilty, here's your safe space to do so. Now let's move on to step 4, which is how to provide value. Let's face it, nothing is more frustrating than sending a professional email to a company that you think your music can fit great with and never getting a response back. Now, sometimes they're just busy, and other times they're looking at your pitch and they're judging you. Are you the type of person that's going to save them time and effort or cost them time and effort? Becoming a person of high value to a music company sets you apart from the rest. What skill sets or assets do you have that can provide a music licensing company value? For example, I used to work at a major music library as a music supervisor for 7 years. One thing we always lacked on was a go-to person to mix all of our vocal tracks that were created in-house. That's not until we had one of our composers step up to the plate and offer to use their studio and expertise to provide that service to the company for no charge. So the library will give them a percentage of their split in exchange for their mixing services on any tracks they mixed. This is one example of providing value, which reflects my point earlier on how you can make their life easier. Now that we're ready to make their life easier, how do we properly approach these companies? We're going to research like a professional. First things first is showing up prepared. Is your music properly arranged for sync? Because tracks that have intros that are 30 seconds or longer don't typically get placed. Also, do your tracks have metadata included like contact info, keywords, your PRO info, BPM, etc.? Depending on who you're pitching your music to, all of these different factors can make or break a placement. We want to come off well equipped when approaching these sync licensing companies. Take the time to research music library websites, see what type of music they lack in, and learn more about their projects. Take the time to see who even runs the company and what their story is. We want to stand out when pitching to these companies, so we're just going to take the time to research, because if I'm being honest, most people aren't going to do this. I mentioned earlier that I'm a music library owner, and I cannot tell you how many submissions I received so far from people who did not do their research. They either called our company the wrong name, improperly submitted, or just plain ignored simple directions. Your ability to research and connect with these companies is the difference between another email that lands in the spam folder or building a long-lasting relationship that benefits you and the company. Now, this step is everything. And it may seem so simple that it almost sounds dumb to say, but patience. Patience is the key. Sync licensing is the long game. This is the game where persistence meets patience. The formula is not to quit or just dabble in this field. I've seen so many people test sync for a little bit, stop submitting for 9 months, then come back once they finally see that it works and actually pays. You need to get comfortable without seeing instant results. And this does not mean you need to be complacent. You can still be proactive and make moves, but you're most likely not going to see the fruits of your labor for several months when you're first starting out. And I know this is not the sexiest step, but it's one of the most important. But don't worry, I saved the best for last, which is joining sync communities. More and more sync industry professionals are creating Facebook groups, Discord servers, or LinkedIn posts. Not only are they dropping valuable information, but they're also posting sync licensing opportunities. There's constantly briefs being sent out for certain projects, and this can be a great way to land your first sync placement. Sync is strongly supported by who you know, so getting comfortable with building relationships and networking in communities will help you build that trust with your peers. We actually have our own Discord sync community server that is dedicated to help out aspiring musicians that are looking to tap into this lane. And the beautiful thing about sync licensing is that most people in this industry find great joy in helping out other indie musicians. Even music supervisors who are placing the music are finding fulfillment helping out us aspiring creatives like you and me. Now, I want to wrap this up saying that this lane is accessible, and these are my most 7 actionable steps that you can take that will truly help you on this path. Hey, if you found this video valuable, I welcome you to drop a comment and let me know which step was your favorite. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in next week's video.